Now, when you get through with your tobacco crop, what do you start doing then? You start digging peanuts?
Digging peanuts.
Picking cotton?
Picking cotton. It's just a...
Where's that from?
Well, in my case here, we're busy all the time because we run a dairy.
Yeah, I know a little bit about that, too. In fact, you dairy farmers have really had a rough road to hoe here in recent years.
Yeah, and it's getting rougher.
Now you're having to compete with what? Out-of-state milk being brought in?
Out-of-state.
Artificial milk?
And all those things, and...
How in the world does a man like you stay in the farming business?
Well, I've heard it all my life that the farming people were the only ones that could go broke every year to stay in business. I don't know how you do it. But, I found out one thing. If you try to figure out these things too far ahead, you get in trouble.
Is that some of your corn over there that's coming up?
Yeah.
Let's walk over and take a look at that.
You say that I find it wholly inexplicable why the City Council of Albany will not sit down with the citizens of Albany, who may be Negroes, and attempt to secure to them in a peaceful way their rights. The United States government is involved in sitting down at Geneva with the Soviet Union. I can't understand why the government of Albany, City Council of Albany, cannot do the same for American citizens. We are going to attempt to, as we have in the past, to try to provide a satisfactory solution and protection for the constitutional rights of the people of Albany, and we'll continue to do so. And the situation today is completely unsatisfactory from that point of view.
We agree with the President that the Commission of the City of Albany should discuss local problems with local Negroes in an effort to reach local solutions. That has been and is now the policy of the City of Albany. But that policy does not embrace outside agitators, including Martin Luther King and his coterie of troublemakers who jump about the South like so many fleas on a hot griddle and cause racial rashes where none have heretofore existed. It is our policy never to discuss problems or to negotiate with people who have utter contempt for our local ordinances, our state statutes, and restraining orders issued by the federal courts. These people, the outside agitators, are here with the avowed and announced purpose of turning our city upside down. They have stated that they have no intention of complying with any of our laws. Therefore, we feel that we should not negotiate with them under any circumstances.
We've put up with the Klan for 100 years in this country. How long is it going to take for us to see the end of the Klan?
I don't know when we'll see the end of the Klan. I think the end of the Klan is any kind of an effective organization of any sort at all is within sight. I doubt that the Klan is going to be a very effective force anywhere as 10 years from now.
The Albany movement has jailing of nearly 800 persons, many of them children of long-established honorable citizens of our Negro community. It has caused the parents of these children to realize, while their innocent young do not and cannot at this time, to realize that they are branded for life. They now have criminal records. Is this the way to teach the young about America? To have no respect for the law? To flout order? To sing and march and obstruct when they know not what the demonstration is for? This, to my mind, is a despicable manipulation. And it is as phony as Martin Luther King's comfortable martyrdom when he deliberately seeks jail as a mark of distinction. The hard truth is that the Albany movement is not really interested in Albany, its people, or its progress. It is an unwanted importation, which depends on fear and force primarily to gain its ends. It seeks to destroy and not to construct. It argues for what it calls social advancement, and yet it spurns social justice. It wants the protection of the law, and yet it breaks that law when convenient to its political purposes. What has this Albany movement accomplished to date? Well, it has moved the buses out of our city, and these buses were used largely by Negroes. It canceled our traditional Christmas parade last December, thereby depriving many more Negro than white children of the material joys of the holiday. I think all of us can remember how many little Negro boys and girls chased the Santa Claus float along the sidewalks of Albany, free laughingly to scramble with all other kids for candies tossed to all children of any and all races by the symbol of St. Nick. They couldn't do this last Christmas. Economic boycott, jostling of policemen, burning of newspapers, misuse of children, disrespect of law, loss of Negro income. These are the soil gifts of the Albany movement to the colored citizenry of Albany. And this is supposed to be the new freedom? This is imported insult. This is hoodlumism or negotiation, but it practices civic blackmail. Our city of Albany will have none of this. Our city officials will stand by principle in their actions and uphold the rights of every individual. And those who are now storming at Albany's gates for purposes of political fundraising and national publicity had best remember that they are challenging a white and colored people who have respect and friendship for one another and who understand the true significance of being able to live together in harmony and decency. When emotional demonstrators disturb a community's peace, they are, in effect, outlaws. They must be dealt with as such. Basically, this is Albany City Commission's policy in the current provocations. It is a policy widely supported by the majority, not with any feeling of animosity or cruel spirit of reprisal, but with a sure knowledge that due process of the law is the only cement which can hold together a community's social and economic fabric.
One of the subcommittee members, Representative Charles Weltner of Georgia, was asked how the Klan could be curbed.
One of the reasons it's difficult to convict a Klansman is because nobody knows who else is a Klansman. Nobody knows whether jurors are Klansmen. They're under mandate to lie about their Klan activity when they're examined. That's a mandate higher than the oath that is required of all jurors. One of the reasons it's hard to convict Klansmen is because of the secrecy, the terror, the unknown quantity, the mystery of the Klan. Now, when we strip this organization of those elements, then the Klan becomes a group of small, willful men who have devoted their activities to hatred, and they are simply not going to be accepted for what they really are when the people know what they really are.
When the House Un-American Activities Committee begins its hearings, the confrontation between committee members and Klan leaders and followers should provide interesting answers. If an imperial wizard is asked at these hearings to name members of his Klan group who may be judges, police chiefs, and legislators, what will happen? Will he do so, or will he choose to plead the Fifth Amendment? What will happen when a Klan clud is asked where the money he collects at a rally ends up? What will the array of Klegels and Clads and Cluds say when they are asked about the reports of secret Klan bank accounts in the names of fish and game clubs in the South? And how does a check to a Klansman end up in the accounts of the Nazi Party? What will happen when a Grand Dragon is asked to give the names of Klansmen who may have participated in acts of racial violence? What will the traveling ministers of the Klan faith say if they are asked how race riots start? Will they plead the Fifth Amendment? And if certain sheriffs are asked under oath whether they are Klan members and whether they know the details of unpunished crimes, how will they answer?